Jamie Scott.
And how old are you now, Jamie?
42, unfortunately.
No, there's nothing wrong with that. Don't be shy of that. First surfboard. What was your first surfboard?
Oh, round pintail, of course.
Yeah. You don't know what make?
Oh, my first board I rode.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Far out.
So did you get
single fin that had no fin
Yeah.
from a dump at Noosa.
So
My
you
very first surfboard.
So you started surfing in Australia?
Yes.
Yeah. So what, you find a surfboard and put a fin on it and away you went?
Basically, yes.
Yeah. So you're an Aussie, born Aussie, or?
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, great. So when did you come to New Zealand?
When I was 13.
13.
Yeah.
And where did you live when you came to New Zealand?
We landed in Auckland, travelled right around the country, and stopped in Kerikeri.
Yep.
Bay Islands, just loved it. For the sailing, actually, we were sailors.
Yeah, yeah. So you lived there for a while?
Yeah, I did half a high school there.
Yeah. And then what?
Fifth form.
Then moved to Whangarei?
Moved to Whangarei, Seaview Road.
Yeah.
Went to Boys High.
Yeah. So, and did you live at Coquet's Crescent for a little while?
Yes, we did, yep.
Now, I've got to tell you a funny story. I had my son and Gary Young, who you might remember.
Yep, totally.
They rang up the Pizza Hut and they ordered for pizzas for your house.
Yep.
And we can remember, I wondered why they were laughing, and the pizza delivery guy was outside your house and you were out there and you were shaking your head. Yeah, and they were just cracking up, but you probably can't remember that.
No, I do vaguely remember something like that.
So, well, you must have been a pretty good surfer by the time you hit New Zealand.
I wasn't that skilled, but I was very keen and I was capable in the sea, definitely, and addicted to water.
Yeah. So when did you really start getting into that?
Straight away, once we got here, Kerikeri had Takeo Bay and Taputahi.
So what was that, late 70s or something like that? I'm just guessing, but...
83, I was 13, so it would have been 84, 85. I really got hooked, and it was in New Zealand that I got hooked.
So you went to Whangarei Boys High School?
Yep, Kerikeri High, then Boys High.
So did you do surfing at Kerikeri High at all?
We surfed there, but there was no surf team. There was one other guy at the school that surfed.
Yeah, one other.
He was a legend to us. And then there was the hardcore crew from further north. That was Cole McNeil and Hamish Clark and
Aylesby boys were there.
Yeah, Hazelwees and Mike Tapania, Anthony Pere, those guys from up there. They were the other guys that we would kind of surf with and see what they were doing.
Yep. So with the boys' high school, they had scholastics. Did you go in some of those competitions in those days?
Yeah. I got in the school team and surfed with Dazza and Kazza and Wayne.
So did you go away on some of their, when they went to go to Raglan or some of the...
I did a couple, not heaps of them, maybe. I think they did more of that after I'd left. It was just getting a bit of a movement when I got there. I think it was maybe, it was starting to get more recognised slightly at the school.
So who was running that? Was Pauline running that in those days, or...?
I can't remember, to be honest.
Okay.
We were busy surfing.
So you were telling me earlier when you were at boys' high school, now boys' high school guys wouldn't have knocked on to school, and on a good surf day they would. How'd they get away from, how'd they get out of school when the surf was good? What you know?
I think we did it enough that the teachers ended up not harassing us too much. And I tried to keep up with my work, so and I was in the 6th or 7th form, so it was easier to.
So your school didn't
out,
exams didn't falter too much.
Not too bad. I finished 7th form and it was all good.
Can we ask what was your first car?
First car, Riley.
Riley.
Yeah.
Austin, was it?
It must have been Austin Riley. Yeah. Quite an old.
Did she go alright?
Yeah, it was like the old Peugeot, classic Peugeot surf car.
So did you get that in Whangarei or Kerikeri?
My parents bought it when we landed in Auckland and we travelled around New Zealand, and it was a classic, had leather seats and everything. It was quite a nice car. But it was old and we thrashed it.
the best surfboard's probably the one that you made yesterday that you're still using, but you ever had a surfboard that you wished you hadn't sold or anything like that? Or
I've had several I wish that I hadn't sold, but
yeah.
you can't collect them, and I believe in looking
Going
ahead.
forward.
I'm looking for the next ultimate rather than hanging on to the old ultimate.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, I do. But yeah, the best one is the one I'm building right now, or the one I surfed last, for sure, just because we're moving ahead with stuff.
Yeah. Can we say at Wananeki here, you guys have got this bar, when it's working, is one of the best rides in New Zealand. A lot of people wouldn't know that, but it's just I know there's a few secret spots, but when that bar's cranking, it's an awesome ride, isn't it?
It's pretty fun, yeah. It's a small wave, but it's a really high performance, playful kind of a wave. Yeah. So for little wide fast boards, it's amazing.
Yeah. So what do you think made you start surfing? Because not everyone surfed.
I was a very keen small boat sailor, did a lot of racing, and so I was on the water all the time in Australia when I wasn't at school. And it was a progression from that, I guess. But so I got into windsurfing at the same time. I did windsurfing almost as intensely, which a lot of people don't probably realise, but I did that. Yeah. And that was, the crossover was this.
So you did windsurfing more before you really got into surfing, or was that all at the same
time, basically. Yeah, because being a sailor, I completely related to the windsurfing with the sail, but then that had a board, and then it was like, well, you can use the board without a sail too. So it was a lot of different things, and I kite surf like more than I surf these days. So
that's
it
sort of
stayed with me,
So you haven't got a stand-up paddleboard like every other person?
I have a stand-up paddleboard. I have every board there is. I snowboard a lot. I don't have a skateboard. That's the only one.
Oh come on! I was on a skateboard.
I used to.
Surf heroes. Do you have any surf heroes when you're growing up? Who did you guys look up to in Aussie? Was it the Aussie champs or?
Not in Australia. I didn't really click onto that. I was just at Noosa at the beach, and it was what I saw there when I went there. Yeah.
So was that pretty crowded in those days, or did you have to get there early to get a wave, or not too bad?
I wouldn't have known because I would have been on the inside on my fitness single thing.
Did you think that helped you turn into a real good surfer?
Yeah, I can probably do a 360.
Well, they're making surfboards with no fins today, aren't they? So
yeah.
See, you were the forerunner of the latest trend, and you didn't know. Now, any surf accidents?
Yes, several. I had a good one at Bailey's where my board came back and just touched my lip and split like a sausage, and I had to go and have it stitched up without anaesthetic, and that wasn't nice.
That wasn't much fun. Any shark sightings while you've been out surfing, or
not surfing?
Yeah.
I've seen one shark windsurfing in New Zealand.
Yeah, and that's it.
That's it.
Yeah. Can we ask, when you were at boys' high school, what sort of music were you guys listening to in those days?
Bob Marley.
Bob Marley.
Yeah, Pink Floyd.
Yeah. Well, the cruisy.
Those two, basically.
Yeah. So you've surfed overseas a bit, or?
Yeah, I've done a lot of time in Indo. I've been to Hawaii, Australia. A lot of Australia.
So where'd you get? What's your favourite place in Indo that you'd like to go back, that you've really had good waves?
Yes, it's amazing.
Yeah.
My favourite wave that I've surfed.
Yeah.
Sure.
Just what sort of wave we're looking at there?
A kind of thick right-hander that you can either whack or get tubed on, or both.
And is it a coral bottom, or?
It's deep water, but it's coral. It's not so spooky in that you're going to hit the bottom, but you get held down if you get nailed. Yeah. But when it's big and scary and hollow, it's so surfable because it's so perfect. Yeah. So it's awesome.
Yeah. So you went to the home of surfing Hawaii sort of thing. Where'd you surf there?
We were actually on windsurfing mission.
Yeah.
We surfed nearly every day there at Hukipa Beach,
yeah.
And then we sailed there as well, which is like the premier wave sailing beach on Maui.
Yeah, yeah. And you go back there, or too crowded, or?
It would be now, and it kind of almost was for windsurfing. It was awesome, but surfing was a little bit localised, which I respected, and for that reason, yeah, I wouldn't go back to surf overly because you don't want to go and pack it out.
Yeah, I know some of the Maori boys that go up to Hawaii, they have it pretty good because a lot of people think so Hawaii and they get away with it.
And there's a connection, so that's a connection.
Yeah. Favourite New Zealand surf trip? You had a trip around New Zealand where you really struck it?
Oh, Shippies. Went there one time with Blair Bartlett and a Hillman Hunter and my brother and Lindsay Baker, possibly.
Yeah.
Three, yeah, anyway. And we took a trailer and camping gear and we parked at Peaks. And I swear, we were grown-ups, or we were younger, so it was probably smaller than we thought it was, but it was like 4 to 5 foot for 4 days straight. And the only people we saw were Brian the cop and his mates, which would have been some of the Kerry boys, and Mike Tapani and Anthony Pure. And I remember cooking mussels on a
that's just magic, isn't it? Yeah.
Corrugated iron, sitting there at Peaks and just watching these waves. And Mike Tapani is surfing at that point on that swell was just absolutely off the hook.
Yeah, yeah.
And that's my main surfing memory of that level.
It's just epic sort of a trip.
Yeah.
So your favourite beach out this way? Where do you find your? I know you've got a couple of secret spots out here.
Purry's is home.
Yeah,
Maurice's is just magical, and the bath's insane. So I don't really go anywhere else. I try and go to Shippies.
Well, people on the TV sorry haven't seen where you live on the video, but you wouldn't want to leave here, would you? You've got such a beautiful spot.
You're always driving away from something pretty awesome, so.
Yeah. So, you're telling me that you used to write a note or two for the kids to wag school. What did you do there?
I was the oldest in a bunch of, I don't know, a dozen probably guys that surfed and were keen around surfing at school. So I had the job of writing the notes for being away. But it was quite hard because there were guys like Bazagudal with his blonde hair and brown face. He'd head off for a day surfing and come back with a note from me, and he just looked like he'd been at the beach all day.
He didn't look too sick or
No, he couldn't really get away with the sick thing. He looked really healthy, sparkly white teeth, a big smile, blonde hair and a brown face with a line, from his wetsuit, and then white.
Yeah. So how, you're a board manufacturer and you make quite a lot of boards and you're well known. How did you get started in that? Because it's not something did you just decide one day I'm going to make a surfboard and it grew from there, had you?
I was working at a windsurf retail and factory setup, Northern Sailboards.
Yeah, a lot of people remember that.
Pretty hardcore kind of setup. Yep. And it grew from there. I used to make sails for windsurfers.
So you actually made the sails, stitch them up on a machine?
Yeah, we did that and made a few accessories, soft accessories and things.
Yep.
I've still got the sewing machine.
Yeah.
And then from there, because I was into the designing of all that, and I'd helped build the windsurfers and have input into the boards just from being a rider as well. I got inspired to build boards, and then I wanted to move to the coast, and windsurfing kind of took a bit of a dive at that point in popularity. So it was, I just moved to the coast and started making surfboards.
Yeah, because I've just shown you a surfboard, and I think it's 20 or 21 years old, and it's your own surfboard that you made for yourself, and you should have bought it on Trade Me, but someone else got it. But
Laurie got it.
It's a pretty good looking board. Even it's 20 years old, mate, and it's still pretty good.
Yes, it's not too embarrassing.
No, it's a beauty, and it's got some nice colours on it. So well done. Yeah,
excellent.
Yeah. So how long have you been out this way and making boards out here? For quite a few years now.
I spent a couple of years at Sandy Bay, and then I moved here. I met Karen, and we ended up out here straight away, and just pretty much I moved everything to here and hoped it would work. Yeah. And I just got the support of my friends, and it was
just taken off here.
Oh, it's just.
So does your wife surf?
Yeah, a little bit.
Yeah.
She's
And you got, how many kids you got?
just Billy.
Yeah. And does she surf a bit?
Yeah, she surfs.
Yeah.
Yeah, and they're both kite surfers.
Yeah.
Very keen and snowboarders.
Yeah.
So yeah, we all get out there.
You just live in the water.
Water, snow, and wind. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's us.
Yeah. What a lifestyle. Eh? I'm pretty jealous of that, I must say.
We work hard to do it.
Yeah. Look, mate, that's all I can think of. That's just brilliant.
Okay, cool.
Yeah,
Thank you.
Yeah. You happy with that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's fine. Bit of a rave.
Yeah. No, well, why not? Yeah. Oh, I'll leave it going. Now you sponsor a few guys, local Northlanders that are right up there in the New Zealand scene. Who do you sponsor at the moment?
Paco's been our main man for quite a while. He's just a legend.
He is a legend, yeah.
Amazing surfer, amazing whatever he does, and just a hell of a nice guy.
Yeah.
Really easy to deal with,
Yeah.
and just totally on the same level as we are. And then there's Manu and Pachi, Scott Arietta, and they are the young rippers.
Yeah.
And they're all good at giving me feedback. They're close enough that I can keep an eye on what's happening with the construction of their boards, and just easy to keep tabs on things, and I get to surf with them. So I learn a huge amount from that.
You always learn, even an old fella like me is still learning.
Oh yeah, and I surf a lot, and I learn a lot from personal stuff too.
So what direction you think surfboards will go in the future? Do you they're going to get faster, turn more, or where do you think it's heading towards?
It's basically just refining to the ultimate feel, really having the maximum control. We've just changed to epoxy resin and EPS foam because there's more potential for changing things like flex and form. It's easier to create any form with a lump of polystyrene than it is with a blank. All what we're doing is done on computer now, so machines are cutting the initial shape, so the accuracy is just through the roof compared. And just recently I've learned a huge amount about flex, just riding different boards without stringers and different materials to give the spring in the boards, having more spring, less spring, what that's doing. Where you're wanting flex, there's so many things I'm learning and trying to put together to create the next level.
The ultimate board.
And with the new materials, that's basically given me the inspiration and allowing me to do it. So it's quite exciting stuff. I've also hooked up with High Modulus, which are like the big engineers for America's Cup boats and high-tech composite stuff. And I'm getting new materials which are amazing, like fabrics and
different types of cloth and all that
stuff.
So
what the America's Cup boats are using, I can get hold of and try for different key things to give board strength or flex or stiffness or whatever.
And everyone wants a different board to suit their surfing abilities and how they surf, don't they?
Yeah, there's still customising, like people, different weights need different flex, different volumes. That's the other thing, was we can tell the exact volumes now of boards because they're computer generated shapes. We've got the volume exactly, and you can get more of a feel what weight and ability people are going to need. There's just so much.
And different breaks. I know when my daughter started surfing, she bought a Aloha surfboard, and we went to Pāteo, and she just ripped on it. A couple of days later we went to Sandy Bay, and it wasn't as grunty, and she really struggled on that same board that a few days, but man, it makes a difference on the surf conditions, and you really, you got to have a bit of a quiver sometimes, I feel, don't you?
Or what I'm trying to do is get one that can do all of that. That's the aim. Because it should be one thing that you can do everything on, I think, ultimately. But like you say, different waves definitely at this point require different boards. I've got 3 models which cover everything I ride here. And I'd get bored if I didn't have the 3.
All right, thank you very much, Jamie. That's brilliant.